Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. This is my November TBR. Earlier today, I filmed a whole video. I did finish editing it. And it's a video where I pulled book names out of this little jar thing. And that was my TBR. And while I was editing it, I was like, no, I don't want to read that. I don't want to read that. No, I'd rather read this. And so, F that. I'm just gonna choose my own damn books for the month. So here it is. Is this in slow motion? Also, it's now nighttime and I'm using a ring light, so excuse my shiny face. I have a few short story collections that I want to try. First of which is a 5-star expectation. What is it called? I'm expecting this book to be 5 stars, and it is Salt Slow by Julia Armfield. I gave Our Wives Under the Sea by this author 5 stars. It's my favorite book of the year, I'm pretty sure. I kind of forget. And this is the author's debut short story collection. And it's all about blurring the gothic with every day, considering characters in motion, turning away, turning back, or simply turning into something new entirely. I have no idea what that means, but it's very short. And I know I love this author's writing. And then we have Samantha Schweblin, 7 Empty Houses. These are 7 different stories about, you guessed it, 7 different houses. I have no idea what it's about. It does say that each story has twists and turns and will unnerve and surprise, which makes me so excited. And then I have If I Survive You by Jonathan Escoffery. This is really interesting because they are short stories, but it's involving the same family. And it's a family of Black immigrants that flee to Miami in the 1970s, and then it's like their life through time. They have to deal with Hurricane Andrew and just probably racist shit, the recession, and I think, why did I just laugh right there? I was laughing because I remembered that part of the reason I bought this is because there is a goldfish that like jumps out of its tank and kills itself rather than stay in the situation it's in. So yeah, it says it's dark humor, which I really do love, but I feel like this is going to possibly break my heart because any sort of family situation, I eat it up because it's either wholesome or heartbreaking or both. Speaking of families, this is The Vacationers, a novel by Emma Straub, and it's involving, I think, just like a rich or middle-class white family from New York, and they're going on vacation. And I think it's also sort of comedic. I don't really know. I read the first chapter in this video and I liked it. I could tell that there was something that was gonna happen, or there was like a secret that we weren't being told. Maybe I was just reading too much into it. But I'm either hoping for like White Lotus vibes or Modern Family vibes. We'll see which one I get. And then I'm gonna read Queenie by Candace Carty-Williams. The Vacationers, Queenie, and the next book is going to be in one vlog. I'm gonna let you guess the theme. So I did buy it for that purpose, but just the other day, Monica put up a video on Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Henry, which I love that book. And she said, if you like that book, try this one. So I will link that video down below. Love Monica. And I'm very excited for this. It says, I think it's just about a young Black woman who's just growing up, dealing with a shitty boss, her family not listening to her, her friends are trying to help her and she's failing, and it's mostly her questioning, what are you doing, why are you doing it, and who do you want to be? I'm thinking it's going to be in a similar tone to the Emily Austen book, where it's like funny and sad, but like very insightful into this character's mind, and maybe even relatable in sort of like societal ways. I don't know. Did that make sense? And then I'll be reading Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Marina Garcia. I'm very excited for this. Again, I bought it for this purpose, but then I think someone else recommended it to me. This is a Gothic story about a girl, Noemi, in an isolated mansion in 1950s Mexico, and Noemi's cousin writes her a frantic letter, so Noemi goes and stays at this mansion with her cousin and I think the cousin's husband. And I think really creepy things are gonna go down, including like Noemi having weird, creepy dreams. I am excited to be creeped out. I know Halloween's over, but is it ever really over in your heart? I wanna try Mad About You, a novel by Vari McFarlane. I did read, just last night, earlier this year, and over like 60% of the book, the first 60%, I absolutely loved. It had 5-star energy. It had a lot to say about grief and about friendship, and I thought it was really funny as well. And then it took a totally weird turn, like the tone of it, the entire genre of it and it was 1-star energy, so I ended up giving it 3 stars. But I did say that I was so excited to read anything else this author published, just because of the potential of the first half of that book. And so Mad About You came out a little earlier this year. I think it's like a grumpy sunshine, but she's the grumpy and he's the sunshine. She's been in a relationship, and I think this is all me just speculating. I could just read the back of the book, but why would I do that? From what I remember when I did read the back of the book months and months ago, is that she had a boyfriend, and when he got too serious, she was like, oh, get away from me. And so she ends up having to get someplace to live, and she moves in with this random dude. And I think it's gonna be about her having to, you know, put her guard down so that she can be in a relationship and be happy and accept love. Then I have The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. I am so intrigued by this. This is also going to be like a TV show or a movie coming out soon. This is about 7-year-old Wen and her parents vacationing at a remote cabin in New Hampshire. And Wen ends up making this friend who's this big hulking guy. And one day, Wen and this guy are just chilling in the forest, which sounds creepy just by itself. And 3 people come up and they have like weapons or something. And so this Wen's like, yo, I gotta go back home. And the guy says, none of what's going to happen is your fault. You haven't done anything wrong, but the 3 of you, meaning Wen and her parents, will have to make some tough decisions. I wish with all my broken heart that you didn't have to. As Wen sprints away to warn her parents, Leonard calls out, your dads won't want to let us in, Wen, but they have to. We need your help to save the world. What is going on? I need to know. Then I'm going to be reading Chouette. I first heard about this on Books with Means channel. I think she was like online book shopping, and the description of this is just that a woman gives birth to an owl. And I was like, yo, I need to read this right now. I'm expecting to laugh. It says it's like dark humor. That's my favorite combo, so expecting the best. What am I doing? I'm actually not sure I'm gonna like this, but I bought it because I want to know what's going on. This is Tell Me Lies by Carola Lovering, and it is a new Hulu series. I want to watch the show, and I feel like I should probably watch the show first because it can only be worse than the book. That's what science tells us. I haven't heard anyone's opinions on the book or the show, so I don't know. This I think is a new adult book about a couple in college who start dating, but it's like a toxic relationship. I'm hoping it's a fun or like, I don't know. I do want Sally Rooney vibes from here, but I do not want Magnolia Parks vibes in here. So we shall see. I think I'll be doing a spoiler reading vlog or like a spoiler section with just this book, just in case anyone just wants to know what it's about without actually having to read it. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm sure you're waiting with bated breath. Next, I want to read The Dreamers, a novel by Karen Thompson Walker. I got this years ago because it was on the Bellatrist book club pick. I've loved a lot of their books. It's about an isolated college town. A first-year student stumbles into her dorm room, falls asleep, and doesn't wake up. And she just doesn't wake up. And then so all these girls start falling asleep in the dorm, and it's like this airborne sort of virus. But I hear that it is like a literary fiction, that it's so beautifully written, and that is why I want to read it. I am going to try, but again, I'm not too sure what to expect, or even if I'll even end up doing a vlog, because I might not like it. That's a horrible way of looking at this. I think I'm going to love Station Eternity by Mur Lafferty. This is the first book in the Mid-Solar Murders. This is a murder mystery set in space. We have this woman who I think acts as an investigator, or maybe she is an investigator. She always finds herself in these situations where she has to figure out these murders. And so she escapes to a space station, which, you know, can't we all do that? But of course, there's a murder mystery happening up there too. Which makes me think that maybe she's a murderer. She's the only variable in all of these situations. I haven't seen the best reviews when I looked up online. I tried to just vaguely look without spoiling anything. But I think the consensus was that it was too big. Sorry. But I do want to make up my own mind about this, you know? Because I was so excited, just the thought of a mystery in a space station. That sounds awesome. I have a couple fantasy romances here. I have A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. Angelo Science Alliance, Literature Science Alliance recommended this as like a good fantasy romance with, you know, good chemistry between the two. So in this fantasy world, I think there are like two princes or someone in some sort of political situation, and it's a marriage of convenience. And I don't think either of them wanted to get married, so I don't know if it's like an enemies to lovers. I'm excited for it. It is a chunker though. I'm so excited for some fantasy romance. I've been in that mood for a while now. And so I also have The Midnight Girls, which was another recommendation from y'all. This is about two monsters disguised as girls, and they go to this party and they're trying to win this prince's heart, but not like in a romantic way. They literally want to eat his heart because, or I think one of them wants to give it to whoever authority she answers to, but one of them wants it for herself because whoever eats this heart gains a bunch of power. And so they're kind of rivals in this situation because they both want the heart, but they have a little attraction for each other, and so they're falling in love. In the background, none of these people want monsters around, I think, so there's this danger, the stakes are high, the love is higher, and I'm so excited. I have The Last House on Needless Street here by Katrina, I never know how to say this name. Miss Ward. I have no idea what this is about. I refuse to read the inside flap because I'm ready to be a surprise. Although every single review I've seen of this says that you did not see this twist coming and it's like a total shock. Although now I'm like so expecting it, but I'm expecting not to anticipate it. That's literally the opposite of what I just said. I'm expecting not to guess what the twist is. Stephen King here, I swear to God, he blurbs every single book. But it says, a true nerve shredder that keeps its mind-blowing secrets to the very end. I think I might also do a spoiler section in whatever vlog I do, just because if you've always been curious and you don't want to read the book, I want to talk to you about it. We have a couple new releases here. Sign Here. I've seen so many people have been reading this, although I don't think I've watched the vlogs because I don't want to ruin it. So I don't actually know what people think of this, but I'm ready to make my own mind up here. I think it's also a debut book, which has me very excited. I'm pretty sure this is about a dude who works in hell, and it's his job to collect souls. And he's got his eye on this particular family, and I think he somehow goes away with them or something happens. What I think is gonna happen and what I really hope is gonna happen is that he ends up loving this family and they have like a sort of found family situation. But it is a horror book. I don't know what to expect, but I'm expecting warmth and comedy for some reason. Maybe it's the cover. And then we have We Spread, a novel by Anne Reid, or Ride, I don't really know how to pronounce this name. This is the author of I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I haven't read the book or watched the movie. I think it's a movie on Netflix. But it's actually one of my highest anticipated reads, despite not owning it. And this is definitely a 5-star anticipated book. I have seen a lot of people give this great ratings. This is about a woman who is getting older and she ends up at a nursing home and she starts, not trusting her mind. And she can't tell if it's just, her getting older and her mind deteriorating. Sorry, I just stuttered. Or if there's some weird shit going on at this nursing home. I really love a story that you can't tell what's going on and you can't trust the narrator because the narrator can't trust themselves. And I'm so excited to figure out what's happening, but I'm also sort of anticipating an ambiguous ending. This is so many books. So yeah. I'm gonna keep going. I have Throne of Glass here by Sarah J. Maas. I did read, I think like 60% of this. I had the audiobook from my library and I did not like the audio narrator. I found them really irritating, but I also found this story a little irritating. I like the setup. It's about this girl named Selena who is an assassin and she, in the very beginning, is imprisoned. The prince comes and says, yo, you're out of jail and we're gonna take you to the court to participate in this sort of competition. And if you win the competition, you are like free from this prison, but you have to act as like the king's guard for a certain number of years and then you're free. So she says, what the hell, fine. During the competition, the competitors start like getting killed off. And so there's this mystery afoot, but then there was like this weird fantasy or ghost element that came in and I was like, yo, I'm so confused. And there was also some really cringy love triangle stuff being hinted at, and I could not care less. And at that point I DNF'd it, but so many people have said that this series gets so much better. I have complete faith in Sarah J. Maas because I've loved everything else that I've read from her. So I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna read it. A lot of people have said to start with Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel, but I'm so annoying that I have to read books as they were published. So not sure why. I'm not excited. Why did I say that? I also want to read the new Tessa Bailey book. I don't know if I'm gonna DNF it or not, but I have to try, right? This is a reverse harem story. I think I saw online that Tessa Bailey actually started this as a joke, but then she ended up finishing it and she was like, here you go. I've read 5 other Tessa Bailey books, her traditionally published books. I've only really loved one of them, so I don't have the highest hopes, especially considering this is indie published, and sometimes I'm judgy about indie published books, which is just very rude of me, I'm so sorry. But that also means that sometimes indie published book stories can go places where the traditionally published ones can't. So I'm expecting a fun time because Tessa Bailey, despite her alpha male energy and some of the names that the grown-ass men call their grown-ass females, like baby girl 20,000 times, I always enjoy her smut and I always enjoy the sort of drama, but like the comedic drama in her books. So I'm gonna give it a try and I guess I'll tell you what I think. That's what BookTube is, people. My reread for this month, I'm gonna reread the Raven Cycle. I think that's what it's called. I started the Raven Boys yesterday. I've never reread the series before, so I'm very excited. I think I gave most of them 4.5 stars. I had such a fun time reading this series. Although I do remember being so confused and also not liking the fantasy elements as much as like the character and the relationships and the friendships and the found family aspect. So I'm wondering now that I'm older and I've read a lot more fantasy, if I will like it as much. Meaning, will I like it more than I did before? We shall see. I don't think I'm gonna do a video on that just because like it is a reread. But I guess you'll have to stay tuned for my wrap up at the end of the month. And then I have all of these audiobooks from my library. So I'm gonna try them all, at least a chapter, but if I'm not vibing with it or I find it boring, then I am just going to, toss it aside, yeet it out, and I've never used that as a verb before, I'm so sorry, and move on. I'm gonna be totally brutal this month, which is why I have an entire fucking mountain of books right here. I think the one I'm most looking forward to, or the one I think I'm gonna like the most, is In the Dream House, just because I've never heard anyone dislike this book, and it's conceptually the coolest thing ever. It's a memoir, and it's about the author's toxic relationship, but it's like through the lens of the house being the relationship and like slowly crumbling. I think that's what it is. Why do I talk without knowing what I'm saying? Also, I am 16% of the way through Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I DNF'd 2 of her books before, The Soulmate Equation and The Unhoneymooners, because I just kind of thought they were boring, but I am hooked on Love and Other Words. So far, it's childhood friendship to lovers. And I don't know what's gonna happen next. It's also like second chance romance, which I am a fan of. So right now I am invested. So yeah, that is a TBR. I will not be finishing all of these books, but I will do my darndest to at least start and never finish any of them. Just kidding. I'm gonna try reading them. Oh my God. I'm at least going to try them all. This month is about taste testing. Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm excited to start. The question is, where do I start? Okay, I filled the jar just of the names of the ones here physically. So let me see which one I'll start with. This one is calling to me. Sign here. Okay, yay. So expect to see that one soon. I am so excited.